This channel is supported by TrueFire. TrueFire is an online library of lessons from some of my favourite players. There's thousands of lessons on there. You can use the promo code JNC40 to get 40% off of any of their courses. This is the brand new Fender Standard Stratocaster. I don't know exactly when they started calling these things the Standard, but there's an American Standard, there's been a Mexican Standard. They discontinued... Why does it say Made in Mexico on this? It says Made in... Have I bought the wrong guitar? It says Made in Mexico on the box, but it can't be, can it?
Either way, TrueFire are running a 10-week boot camp. So it's a weekly video overview, in-depth video lesson, tiered homework assignments, community feedback, discussion, live Zoom session, and all of this for 10 weeks. Yeah, get involved. That's free, and you know I'm a fan of the TrueFire stuff anyway.
Designed in California, made in Indonesia. Right, yes. So I have got the right guitar. That's a that's a good start to the video. So this is one of the things that came out maybe just before NAMM, and why is it interesting? Well, because it's Fender bringing back a Standard, but instead of being built in Mexico, where it's been built for years, this thing is built in Indonesia. And I guess what was interesting to me about it was, you know, this is a £500 guitar. For £500 out of Indonesia, you can actually get some really interesting things. So let's see how this thing holds up. I'll tune it up. I'll get you some close-ups of it as well.
So, yes, this is here, the Standard Series. The neck, I'm liking the feel of. Doesn't have sharp frets. There's a bit of sort of plasticky stuff, detritus around the nut. A little bit of untidiness. But in general, feels, I think, like it might be up to sort of the Mexican Standard at least. Just gone to tune it up, and this string has broken here, up at the headstock for some reason, not exactly sure why. The other thing that's going on is this bridge is incredibly high, so it says it's been set up. To me, I think it's going to need a bit of adjustment, but I don't normally like to adjust things before I've demoed them, so I'm going to leave that, I think, for now. Just reading an article from Guitar World and by Matt Parker, and he's talking to Executive VP of Product Justin Norvell. He says a Player Series Strat at one point was $500 to $600, and that doesn't exist anymore. So that's how it was born. We wanted to make Fender more affordable to a wider amount of people. It was called the working man's guitar back in the day. So that's our goal. We were like, well, how do we do this? We're not just plugging holes. It's a feasible instrument that could exist between modern classic Squiers and what a Player Series model is. When they say we're not plugging holes, then this first thing that they said does sound almost exactly like they are plugging holes.
Squier and Fender used to touch each other basically, and I think Squier does have a ceiling, and the Player series has moved up in price, but Fender is always supposed to be accessible. Anyway, looking at it, one of the things that I did find on the Fender site about these was they were saying this like authentic high output Fender tone, which probably means that they're using ceramic pickups, but they don't say that in any of the specs that I've found. This is maybe my main complaint about the guitar, but you know, that's not too bad, is it? But yeah, this will be, I think, the weak point of the instrument, the ceramic pickups, which actually sound fine, but in terms of authentic Fender tone, I don't think ceramic would have been the way to go. Ceramic pickups are generally cheaper. I think that's probably why they've done that in this guitar. The neck has quite a nice kind of satin finish. Is it basically just a Squier with a Fender on the headstock? I think yes. Are there Squiers that have better specs? Again, also yes. What's the conclusion then? Buy a Squier? I don't know, maybe. Or do you go for the Fender Player series and save up, skip the standard? I don't know, I'd love to know your thoughts if you've got any in the comments.
Not feeling rough like on some cheaper guitars. I would say that I'd expect that all but the most loyal Fender fan might find that the PRS Silver Sky about £99 more expensive, but I think for me certainly the neck would be a more comfortable fit. This is quite on the slimmer side of C. I would say that this kind of has, it's not at all bad, and those frets, I think they've done a nicer job than the Ibanez AZ Standard that I've seen recently, which is a Chinese made guitar with stainless frets. These frets, if you can hear, are quite pleasant. The neck finish is good. I'm not finding there's necessarily flaws with it, except for in that setup, that trem is set quite high. I would expect that to be slightly closer to decked, I think. How different to a Squier does it feel? It's not jumping out that there's not, to me, a huge difference between something like this and something like maybe, I don't know, a Squier Classic vibe, which is maybe the tricky thing about these, is that the standard here is going to come in cheaper than the Mexican Player now, but instead of thinking about it as something that needed to happen, I think of these sorts of things as like Fender is trying to make a Strat shaped object at basically every single price that there is. So, you know, for 129 quid you could buy a Squier debut. It would be basically quite similar to this. For 249 you could buy a Squier Affinity, or whatever the price is now. For 400-ish you could buy a Squier Classic Vibe. Now for 500 you get the Fender Standard, which is now built in Indonesia. For 600 you get the Fender Player. Onwards and upwards, but yeah, it's not bad at all. I think I'd choose a Sire over this, Sire S7. You know, you get some more impressive specs. I think the specs of the Ibanez AZ Standard, I would say, are more impressive than this, and also the looks of the thing. The fret job on this is slightly nicer. I would say the PRS CE 24 Satin I would be more impressed with than this. The Silver Sky SE I've been more impressed with than this as well. But I kind of, it's a Fender, isn't it? It's not necessarily eager to get the most for your money, but it does look quite pretty. I'll see if I can hang on to this for a little bit and do some more comparison videos, but that's kind of first impressions. Not bad at all.